Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's Zoo to You. My name is Brian, and I'm an ambassador animal specialist here at the Stone Zoo. And I'm here today with Kupa, our leopard tortoise, for some fun fall-themed enrichment for our little friend here. So we can set her down and see if she's interested. We've got a little pile of leaves for her over here, and a nicely carved pumpkin with some delicious treats inside. So leopard tortoises are herbivores, meaning they like to eat plants, and pumpkins are a type of plant, and inside is a little bit of lettuce, which is some of her favorite food. It looks like she might have just spotted or smelled it. These guys have a great sense of smell. They are native to the African plains, and they use that good sense of smell to find the foods they like to eat. In the wild, these guys eat stuff like grasses and cactuses, but here at the zoo, we feed them lettuce and carrot, a little bit of some dry chow, and every now and then the occasional pumpkin for a special fall treat. Kupa here is a pretty special leopard tortoise. She was not actually born here at Stone Zoo, but she was found roaming the streets of Boston. Now, for an African tortoise species, that is pretty strange. We believe Kupa here was a pet at some point, and she wasn't super well taken care of. So we believe that her previous owners may have dumped her on the streets, which is definitely not a good idea with any of your pets. But some people who work at the zoo found her, and we were kind enough to give Kupa a home here at the Stone Zoo. Looks like she's moving in on that pumpkin. Now, I don't believe Kupa has ever actually had pumpkin before, so this might be a new treat for her. It looks like she's kind of sizing it up there, trying to get a bite out of it. It is absolutely edible, and these tortoises can eat it, but it might be a new one for her. Inside there is a little bit of lettuce and kale, as I mentioned before, so some of her old favorites mixed with a new treat. Tortoises and turtles have a pretty sharp beak, kind of like a bird does. They don't actually have any teeth, but their beak is serrated, so it makes it really good for chopping and ripping up pieces of lettuce. But as I said earlier, they are pretty much exclusively herbivores, so almost everything they eat is plant matter. If anyone has any questions about Kupa or about the zoo, feel free to type them into the comment section below this video. Leopard tortoises are very well adapted for living in the desert. If you look at Kupa's shell, you might be able to spot why they're called leopard tortoises. That pattern on her back helps her blend in with the rocky and sandy kind of savanna areas where she likes to live, helps keep her safe. And that shell is great armor, great protection from predators. You might also notice some pretty thick scales on her front legs. When she tucks her head into her shell, she can put her arms right in front of her head, and those thick scales are the things that stick out the most, keeping her nice and safe. Oh, that looks like a good bite of pumpkin right there. If you guys at home are looking for some fun fall enrichment for yourselves, this weekend we are having our annual Boo at the Zoo at Stone Zoo. There will be some trick-or-treating, some animal enrichment, mostly fall-themed for the animals at the zoo, and a few activities and games for anyone who wants to come by the zoo this weekend.
What are some of Kupa's other favorite treats?
That was a great question. Someone asked, what are Kupa's other favorite treats? So as I mentioned before, she really likes kale, she really loves lettuce, and she actually really likes most brightly colored fruits and vegetables. We've noticed her favorites tend to be strawberries and raspberries. We think the bright red really catches her eyes. They mostly use their sense of smell, but you can see she definitely does have eyes and she can definitely see. So brightly colored fruits are some of her favorites. But she does seem to be pretty interested in this pumpkin. I'm going to help her out a little bit and take off the top, so maybe she can get into the center of it that way. But she's definitely interested in this enrichment. And when we enrich animals, this is what we're looking for. We don't always want the enrichment item to be something that they can figure out right away. So sometimes it's good for it to be a little bit of a puzzle that they can kind of learn from and figure out. It keeps our animals mentally stimulated. So I would definitely classify this as a successful enrichment.
other types of enrichment that she really likes to interact with more than others?
Great question. We had a question about other enrichment types or other types of enrichment that we give to Kupa. One of them that we often do during the summer is a mud wallow. So Kupa is a warm weather animal. They're found in Africa again. So she really likes when it's nice and hot out. So she doesn't stay outside year round, but when it is nice and hot during those summer months, we'll get a little bit of dirt, we'll add some water, and she'll often kind of sit in that mud. It'll help keep her cool on a nice sunny day, and that's something she really enjoys. She also does have a few favorite toys here at the zoo. She has a couple bright red balls that she'll kind of chase around her exhibit. Those, sort of like the bright red berries we talked about earlier, we believe really catch her eyes, or really catch her eye, and she gets excited by them. And we've seen her pushing them around. Honestly, the biggest enrichment kind of activity that she likes is exploring. So if we ever get a chance on a slower day during the summer when it's nice and warm outside, we can let her walk around different sections of the zoo. And she is a girl on a mission. She will walk until she can't walk anymore. She'll go all day exploring every nook and cranny of the zoo.
Can guests see her on exhibit at the zoo?
So that's a great question. Kupa is actually currently behind the scenes, so we can't see her you can't see her during a typical day walking around the zoo. She is one of our ambassador animals, so she is behind the scenes, and we'll often use her for special programs and birthday parties. But if you do come to the zoo during the summer months, you can see our African spurred tortoises. We have 3 of them. They are actually the largest species of tortoise from the African continent. Kupa here is the second largest, or this species is the second largest. So you can't see Kupa if you come to the zoo, but you can often see our other tortoises. This time of year, it's getting a little chillier, so most of our reptiles will be going inside for the winter. But come visit us during the winter months, and you can definitely see, or during the summer months, and you can definitely see those larger reptiles hanging out there.
And we did have a question about her shell and why it's a little bumpy.
Oh, about why her shell was bumpy. Was that our question? Yeah, so Kupa's shell is a little odd. As I mentioned before, she was not raised here at the Stone Zoo. She was found wandering the streets of Boston, which is not the ideal place for a turtle to be, or a tortoise to be. But we brought her in, and we believe that when she was growing up, she did not have a proper diet. And one of the side effects of not having a great diet when a tortoise is developing is a bumpy shell like hers is. So it's called pyramiding. It is generally a sign of a lack of nutrition when the tortoise is young. Now, Kupa nowadays, she has an incredibly healthy diet. She's getting all the vitamins and nutrients she needs, but that pyramiding is a lifelong change, and her shell will continue to look like that. It doesn't affect her nowadays, and she is completely healthy, but because of her past, she has a slightly different shaped shell. Most leopard tortoises have a kind of smoother dome, and they don't have those sharp bumps. But it's just kind of a story of Kupa's past, and it's a good way to talk about how you shouldn't treat your pets. And hopefully we can use Kupa, and she can help teach more people about the best ways to keep tortoises happy and healthy.
And another question, what is an ambassador animal?
A great question. Someone asked, what is an ambassador animal? And it's not exactly a straightforward phrase, or not one that you might hear every day, but an ambassador animal are the animals at our zoo that we will bring out to programs and we'll do special encounters with. We call those animals ambassadors because they are ambassadors for their species. They represent that species in the wild. So we can use animals like Kupa. We can talk about her, and we can tell people about the leopard tortoises that live in the wilds of Africa, and we can explain to people right there in front of them how their adaptations work, and we can use them as an example. So she is an ambassador because she represents more than just an individual turtle. She is kind of a representative of her species as a whole.
So she'll check out the leaf pile.
Yeah, there's a lot going on today. She was very interested in the pumpkin, but it seems like it might have tipped back over and she couldn't figure it out again.
I think we're about out of time.
All right.
Get ready to sign off with Kupa.
Perfect. Well, yeah, I think if we don't have any more questions, we can say goodbye to Kupa. It looks like she's a little interested in this leaf pile. We can see if she examines it any further. I guess not. She's just going to walk right on by. Well, thank you, Kupa, for participating in our little fun fall-themed enrichment. Enjoying your little pumpkin there was adorable. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. Hope you have a great rest of your day and a great holiday Halloween season. And if you plan to stop by, Boo at the Zoo this weekend at Stone Zoo. Have a great day, everyone.